NXT was very good once again. A lot of surprises happened on this show. They're keeping the train chugging, man. They're not doing too much, but they're doing just enough to keep people interested. Let's talk about NXT. We start the show with Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. Carmelo Hayes had to admit that the man that don't miss did indeed miss last week, and that though he was seconds from beating Judgment Day, and then he blamed Dragunov for the loss, essentially because he got his nose in Carmelo's business. Ilya Dragunov came out there and said that he was concerned about Damian Priest using Money in the Bank when he wants to take the title from Carmelo Hayes. And he says that he wants to fight Carmelo. And it was Carmelo who's the one who lost control. So Melo understands that what Ilya Dragunov can do, who he is, and wants to know how he kept that maniac pace that he sets. So they go back and forth a little bit. Dragunov is cutting a really passionate promo. He's very serious too. He's talking about when he steps into the ring, how people feel something. They feel his passion. They feel his intensity. And then Carmelo Hayes says, "You think I don't feel stuff? You think I don't feel the criticism? You think I don't feel the pressure?" So that was a really good part of this promo. And then Melo says that nobody is more qualified to wrestle him than Dragunov. But when they have that match, Melo is going to hit different. Then Dragunov says, well, you're going to have to hit different, and you're going to have to hit strong too, because it's going to take a lot to take me out. So they basically agreed to have the match at Great American Bash. Later on, Trick and Melo run into Schism, where Joe Gacy claimed that Trick is going to turn on Melo the moment that Melo loses the title, which, of course, they start to argue about. Then Dragunov once again pokes his head in there. Melo is angry that Dragunov once again has made an appearance. And then it wasn't long before we got into a fight. It was just everybody fighting everybody. So this was set up a 6-man tag for next week. Trick, Melo, Dragunov versus Schism. And I didn't mention it last week because I wasn't paying that much attention, but it might actually be that the Creed brothers are the guys in the masks behind Schism. And it seemed like it might be. Something is telling me that it is. Thank you guys for the ones who were smart enough to notice it. Thank you guys for noticing. I'm a big fan of Dragunov, man. His promo style is actually very different. This is what I meant. Like, when I talked about on Raw, I said you need to have fire and ice. There's a reason why Dragunov and Gunther work so well together. Because Gunther is indeed ice, but Dragunov is fire. He's passion. He's small, but he's intense. He's passionate. He sells very well. He fights aggressively. He is going to be amazing. For some reason, I'm just kind of like, put the belt on Dragunov. As much as I like Carmelo Hayes, I'm thinking Dragunov might be the guy right now, man. I think he might be the guy that might make people interested in this show. A Dragunov match is like watching a guy have surgery with no anesthesia. That's how well he sells. And that's how much he fights. And that's how much you can feel what he's doing as he's going through whatever it is he's going through in these matches. And that's a rare skill for you to actually fully believe that somebody's in a tremendous amount of pain. And if his opponent is bigger than him, which most of the opponents will be, he really has an opportunity to get you invested in what he's doing. So I really like Dragunov, man. And this feud is going to be interesting. I don't care for the whole Schism piece of this. I think that we're pretty much chugging along on our last legs when it comes to that Schism thing. But whatever. Moving on very quickly. Mustafa Ali is backstage. He's upset at Wes Lee. Says he doesn't want to wrestle Dominic Mysterio for the North American title. He wants to wrestle Wes Lee. Wes Lee was offended and was like, what do you mean? Like, oh, you think I can't beat Dominic? And then Mustafa Ali was like, no, I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying I'm going to be at the Great American Bash. You just got to get there. So this leads us to the main event of the evening, where your boy Dirty Dominic Mysterio won the North American Championship. Now, they didn't use Judgment Day a lot on this show, which I think is a mistake. If you're going to promote them being on here, you should use them. I think they were only in maybe one other segment, which is, fun because it was Tony D'Angelo and Dominic. We will talk about that in a second. So during this match, Booker T, I love Booker T. All right. So Booker T is going on commentary about how Dominic Mysterio became a shot caller quicker than anybody ever in jail. And that that they was treating him like Tupac. He said that they was treating Dominic Mysterio like Tupac in jail, which is absolutely hilarious. It's great. Vic Joseph, of course, being a Dom doubter. He's doubting old Dirty Dom, saying that how did you make so many friends when you were only in there for a few hours? But Booker T added some credence to Dominic being, he says, you got to be tough if you're wearing cowboy boots. I'm like, yeah, buddy. Dominic, he really putting him over. I like this. The crowd had dueling chants. Dom's not ready. Yes, he is. Pretty standard match up until, not random, Judgment Day interference where here comes Priest, here comes Finn. They hadn't been there all night. They distract the referee. One of them distracts the referee while Finn Balor distracts the referee while Damian Priest tries to hit Wesley with the North American title. Wesley ducks it, gives him the old cardiac kick that Damian Priest takes a bump, rolls out of the ring. So Dominic is in position. Wesley goes to the corner. He's setting up for the cardiac kick again, where Rhea Ripley smashes Wesley in the head with her title, and he just slumps to the ground, and Dominic Mysterio gets the 3 count. The people are legit angry. I was not expecting this, but I looked on Twitter while I was preparing this. Yeah, buddy. Those people are pissed. There are people who are really huge fans of Wesley. People who were expecting Wesley versus Mustafa Ali are pissed that Dominic won this match. Of course, people who think Dominic is terrible, he's worthless, he's not worth nothing, he shouldn't be the champion. Why is they doing this? Why are they burying the NXT champions? They beat Carmelo Hayes. Now they're beating Wesley. What's happening? What's going on here? What are they doing? Now, the whole thing about them beating Carmelo Hayes and Wesley, I get that. I feel that one, especially the Carmelo Hayes one, because it was non-title and they just beat him twice for no reason. Wesley, however, completely different ballgame. Not just because I don't like Wesley. I think he's boring. That's not the only reason why I'm okay with this. Dominic Mysterio is the most over heel in the company. He's the most over heel in the company. And if you can get him to feature on your show and put him in a featured spot, hell, he should be the NXT champion. The North American title is small potatoes. He should be the NXT champion. Somebody on Twitter said that if it wasn't for Gunther being the Intercontinental champion, that would be the perfect role for Dominic. And that is absolutely correct. Dominic should be a champion because he's the most over heel in the company. So guess what happens? You have the most over heel in the company, and then you get to wrestle him. So you get the spotlight of wrestling the most over heel in the company. Where's the bad side to this? The bad side is you had to lose. Would you have rather lost to Mustafa Ali, who nobody really cares about, if we're being honest? Nobody really cares about Mustafa Ali. Not really. He's okay. But he's just okay. He's not the most over heel in the company. All right? So, because Dominic legitimately gets the most heat out of anybody in the company, this was the right decision to make, because he is in the same age group as all the people in NXT. It doesn't come across as being over the top. I just say, why didn't they do the same thing with Austin Theory last year and do the Money in the Bank, him cashing in the Money in the Bank on the NXT champion? Him and Braun Breaker are about damn the same age. It would have been perfectly fine. NXT is for those people who are in their late to mid 20s. Dominic Mysterio is right there in that spot. It's perfect. It works. He's not going to be there forever. It's going to be like a Dolph Ziggler run, no doubt. He'll be down there for a couple of weeks. Probably defend the title in a triple threat match at Great American Bash. He'll probably win that triple threat match, but he'll probably lose the title like a week or two afterwards. So he's not going to be champion for long. And they're going to use him and his exposure to put more exposure on NXT to hopefully get somebody else over who is usually going to be a hotter babyface. It probably won't be Wesley, and it probably won't be Mustafa Ali. It's probably going to be somebody else. If they were smart, they would have somebody prepared already, but it doesn't seem like they do. So it probably will be Wesley winning the title back. But this was a great decision. From a creative perspective, this was excellent. I saw a lot of people flipping on Shawn, saying Shawn doesn't know what he's doing, why he ruined this epic run from Wesley. I'm like, yo, you don't get it. If he would have beat Wesley clean, that would have damaged Wesley. This was a 4-on-1 attack where he got hit in the head with a title. He's fine. Wesley was very well protected. He even knocked out Damian Priest, who was twice his size. And that's something I usually would be like, get the fuck out of here. But because it was in this context where he was going to lose anyway, then you have to give the kid something. All right? So this was great. Dominic Mysterio being North American champion is excellent. The only problem with it is that he's not the NXT champion outright. So, moving on. Los Lotharios were defeated by Nathan Frazer and Dragon Lee. This match was really fun. Short, but fun. The Los Lotharios, Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo, they actually did a bench press. They did a double bench press off the top rope from Dragon Lee onto the mat, which was nuts. It was just a crazy move, and it wasn't the finish. So, you know, we're in full Lucha Libre mode here. They changed Nathan Frazer's not finisher, but they changed his theme song, which sucks. It's very generic and garbage now. Anyway, Dragon Lee actually pins, I think it was Angel to win the match with a running Salida del Sol. So it was a really fun match. Afterwards, Angel and Humberto are actually arguing. And Humberto shoves Angel and pushes him onto the floor. And I'm like, you can't possibly be breaking them up already. Like, what are they doing? Shawn and Triple H, would you please let a tag team breathe for a second? Please. Please let tag teams breathe. I know the Los Lotharios has been together for a few years, but they haven't had a run yet. You know, like, they were put together, I think, 2 years ago, and then treated like they're the goddamn shining stars. What was they called? The Colognes. They treated them like those guys, where they basically just put them on the bench for months. Both of these guys have charisma. They're very talented dudes. They could be a very useful tag team, especially since you're seemingly devoid of tag teams in NXT. Breaking up Los Lotharios is dumb. Teasing dissension between them already after they lose one match is dumb. Unless you got another plan, which I'm pretty sure they don't. But Los Lotharios is very good. This match is very good. All right, so Tony D'Angelo is freed, and he got all his belongings back. And the most unreal aspect of this entire storyline is that he got that gold watch back. And I don't know about that one. I know a lot of people's belongings come up missing, quote unquote, when you go to jail, and then you come back, and all of a sudden your rings are missing, and your watches are missing, and your earrings are missing. You know, all the cash in your wallet is missing. You know, so the most unreal thing about this is he got that ring back. So we have the big coming home segment for Tony D'Angelo. Stax says that Gallus trumped up these charges to lock the Don up, but he's back now. So all the fam is in the ring, all these Italians, just random Mediterranean people of various description. They're kissing each other on the cheeks and all this sort of stuff. And then they show the video package of Stax's big plan. And I tell you this, it makes a lot more sense if you watch the video package, what they were doing. It makes a lot more sense when they explain it to you that way, rather than you watching it in increments. Because now you're like, how did Tony D'Angelo know that Stacks was going to maintain his loyalty, yada yada yada. But then they filled in those blanks by saying, "Oh, Stacks laid it out to him before it happened. This is what we're going to do. This is how this is how I think he's going to react." Blah 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 blah. So it makes sense. So after they explained everything, Joe Coffey comes out. He still looks like an idiot with his hair combed forward. I don't know, whoever told him to do that is clearly playing a rib. He looks like a fool. Comb your hair back and be serious. So he called Tony D'Angelo and his family subhuman and said that he's going to wish he was back in that cell because it was safer in there. Tony D'Angelo told him to go get their shine box and they're going to defeat them for the tag team titles. To which Gallus said, "You ain't going to make it to the bash." And so they marched to the ring, and the D'Angelo family, every single person in the ring, pulls out a crowbar. And I was like, holy shit. No, they didn't go full final fight. Everybody's got a crowbar. It's like Double Dragon or something like that. It's like people with like random weapons. Like one of those Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle side-scrolling games, like the Foot Soldiers got like bars and shit. Fighting Force or something like that. Like everybody's grabbing stuff off the, like, come on. Come on. Anyway, they beat up Gallus with obviously fake crowbars. I didn't like that part, but everything else was pretty good. So I didn't mind it. All right. So next, we got Baron Corbin. He's out in the woods because he's trying to figure out what the hell he stumbled across. There's tiki torches and there's hooded figures. I don't know if it was a cult. I don't know if it was Proud Boys, a clan, whatever's going on out here in these Florida swamps. So he walks over and he's doing the voiceover too, saying he should have been satisfied where he was. It was easy, it was comfortable, it was safe, but he felt like he needed to evolve, which is why he burned the past. He said he needed to be feared, he needed to be respected, he needed to be the champion. Then he says he needs to do this as himself. So he touches the strange hooded figure in the woods, and it turns around, and it is Baron Corbin wearing a friar monk robe. I don't get this. I don't understand what's going on. So I'm just going to let it play out because I'm at a loss. I know I'm not supposed to think there's two of them, but also you're telling me magic. So we're not going to turn Baron Corbin into a magic genie, are we? Because I'm not interested in that. Not interested in that one at all, period. All right, second match on the show, Gigi Dolan versus Kiana James. The match was not good. The problem is that both of these girls worked very light, especially Kiana James. Usually Gigi Dolan, that's the problem. I just say she works very light. But now Gigi Dolan is the victim of being worked very light. Kiana James' kicks were not making any contact. Her punches were not making any contact. Gigi's weren't making any contact either. Especially that knee strike she does. It looks awful because the other opponent's head does not come all the way down. Like she doesn't actually use her knee into the head. Like you don't have to do it with force, but you can do it. This is the stuff what I mean when we talk about like indie wrestlers having bad habits. That's something that you should work out. Like she should just grab the back of the head and bring that head to the knee and learn how to use your knees without killing somebody. Instead of doing an obviously phony knee strike. I'm sorry. It looks like shit. Kiana James's punches and kicks looks like shit too. So it was just it's hard to get into it because there's no physicality. You know, it's too phony. And it's a big problem with this Gigi Dolan stuff. So the big part of the match is they just start fighting over Kiana James' giant purse. It's just like a big purse. They're pulling it back and forth. The referee gets involved, snatches it, distracts Gigi Dolan. Then Gigi Dolan gets hit with Kiana James' finisher, which is called the 401k, and Kiana James wins. Okie dokie. Sure. So they're 1-1 now, so that means they got to have another match. Okay, whatever. Again, I've already had my criticisms. Gigi Dolan is fine. Ooh, she's fine. But she works too light, and her shit doesn't look good. She got to tighten up. Tighten that up, snug it up a little bit. I'm not saying knock her block off, but I'm saying is make contact. Make your shit look good. So there was an NXT Anonymous segment where Booker T was coaching up Roxanne Perez, telling her that she had to be more aggressive. She had to have a better attitude. because Blair Davenport is dangerous. So this was a very good segment. And Booker T, one more time for the Booker man, was very upset that this was being recorded. And so he started saying, "Is this a two-party consent state? What the hell was that?" I was like, I don't know, man. So he was mad that there ain't no damn promo. Booker T is becoming probably one of the best things on NXT. He's so good. He's so funny. So this leads to the big talking segment between Blair Davenport and Roxanne Perez, where Blair Davenport says she's going to embarrass Roxanne Perez in front of her own family, because Roxanne Perez is from Texas. Says that the division is not for little girls. Roxanne Perez says she's tired of being treated like a target. She's had this rage building up inside of her ever since she lost her title, and she's going to show Blair Davenport a side of her she's never seen before. So Blair Davenport says she doesn't believe her. She has no killer instinct, and she's going to hurt Roxanne Perez, and that she needs to just drive back home after the match and don't even bother coming to Florida. At certain parts here, Roxanne Perez kept trying to cut in, but Blair Davenport kept talking, which kind of proves that she doesn't have killer instinct. Like, she couldn't even raise her voice. Like, she kept trying to talk, and then Blair Davenport just kept going and going and going, and she was like, I got, No, you got nothing. You got nothing. So, Roxanne Perez gets frustrated, takes the mic off, and storms out, and then Blair Davenport made fun of her, calling her a little girl. Roxanne Perez, I'm not seeing it. She's going to have to definitely show me something, because she does come across as being a little too mushy. You know, she's not showing me that blade. You know, we need that dog. Like Booker T said, she got to bring that dog. You know, I'm not seeing it yet. So at this point, I'm just saying, let Blair Davenport wipe her feet all over Roxanne Perez until the girl toughens up. Blair Davenport's lips, they're very nice. Very, very nice. And I like how she actually uses the accent. It almost comes across like William Regal, where she called Roxanne Starlight or something like that. Oh, good for you, Starlight. Like, okay, whatever that means. I like it. I like his unique language. I like it. All right. So next, Axiom and Scripps, they're mad at Bronco and Lucien, and they argue over respect. So Scripps says, "Hey, look, we'll fight you guys. We'll fight you guys next week." Apparently this video was recorded last week because they had the match tonight. So Bronco and Lucien agreed, and they go about their way. Axiom turns to Scripps and says, look, I don't have a problem, teaming with you against these guys, but we're not a tag team. I have a lot of stuff I want to do on my own. I don't really, just don't need you. Don't want you around. So tag team match, Lucien Price and Bronco Nima versus Axiom and Scripps. In the middle of the match, Scripps attacks Axiom from behind and just allows Lucien and Bronco to destroy him. So Lucien Price and Bronco Nima win the match. And Scripps joins Lucien Price and Bronco Nima. And Booker T, absolute genius, is like, in the hood, they call him Scripps. You don't think that Axiom is from the hood, do you? He ain't from the hood. Which actually ties into it. Because when Axiom unmasked Scripps, he called him Reggie. And then he was like, no, I prefer to go by Scripps. That's what they call me. That's what I grew up with. And then I think he kept calling him Reggie, actually. But then I think eventually he did call him Scripps. But I think that's the point of this, is that Reggie is going back to his roots as sort of a homeboy. And Scripps is going to be like a street name. And he's going to be in a stable with Lucien Price and Bronco Nima. Oh, I don't know. I don't know about this. I'm going to have to see it in action, because in my brain, it ain't working out. Because I keep seeing, he ain't got that, he hasn't lost the Cirque du Soleil stuff yet. That's what I'm seeing now, I'm still feeling like Cirque du Soleil and Reggie Scripps. He's gaining some weight in the tummy area. You might want to do something about that. But ultimately, I'm just kind of feeling like he's still Cirque du Soleil. I'm not seeing the hood yet, and I know that I don't know if we've shared his real story, but he really was a gangbanger. Scripps. He was a real gangbanger. He's like a blood, or he's like a Crip or something like that in St. Louis before he left and joined the circus. Like, it was a legitimate crazy story. He's like a Robin from like Batman or something like that. Like, he had a criminal background, and then he just jumped up and joined the goddamn circus. So, I was like, wow. So if that's where they're going with this, okay, I got to see it flesh out. So while I have some trepidation on how this is going to work, I'm going to let it play out. I will say, though, this new trend of we're just going to attack our tag team partners in the middle of the match, I don't know, man. It's like we just did this. Like we just did this. It probably could have been a better way of doing it. And then also just breaking teams up immediately. I mean, come on. How many teams are we going to tease breaking up or just have them break up out of nowhere in the middle of nothing? But at least these two guys have a history of feuding with each other, Axiom and Scripps, and this is just a continuous of their feud. So while it's a swerve and it's a little unnecessary, I accept it because these two guys were feuding anyway, Axiom and Scripps. And then they combined forces to take out this Babatunde guy, but it was just a ruse. So Scripps can catch Axiom with his pants down, and then pause. Never mind. I shouldn't even say catch him with his pants down. Let's say catch him unawares. All right, let's put it like that. No, that wasn't as gay. Anyway, moving on. Speaking of gay, Eddie Thorpe, he's backstage. He says that winning NXT Underground puts him in a spot to be a title contender. He was supposed to have a segment with Noam Dar the previous week on Supernova Sessions, but Noam Dar has fallen into a depression due to losing his NXT Heritage Cup, and he isn't up for the Supernova Sessions. He's not up for anything. They push him around in a wheelchair, for Christ's sake. It's hilarious. He's catatonic. He's literally like Linda McMahon now. His hair is all over the place and everything too. So Eddie Thorpe gets into an argument with Oro Mensah, the pink-haired South African dude, who is basically at the Jay Vidal of WWE at this point. Never mind. I'm not even going to edit that part out. In any event, this guy gets into an argument with Eddie Thorpe because Eddie Thorpe doesn't really want to be bothered with these people anyway, and they're all weirdos, and it's just a random assortment of people too. It's just a random assortment of individuals. So he ends up getting into an argument with Oro Mensah that leads to the match later on, the fifth match on the show, Oro Mensah versus Eddie Thorpe. So Oro Mensah actually, despite the fact that he looks like a sissy, with the pink hair and a lot of the other weird stuff that he's doing, and the fact that also Eddie Thorpe also looks like a LGBTite. Both of these guys, I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on with them. But Oro Mensah was actually very aggressive here. He did the old forearm across the face joint, the face wash. I love that. I like when bad guys do that. I used to do that to my little brothers because it doesn't hurt, but it's super annoying. Like, you take your forearms and you run it across their face and like eyeballs and nose and stuff. It's hilarious. It's like giving them a noogie almost. It was a great bully move. It's a great little bully move. I love it. So it was him being very aggressive was good for his character, because if you're going to be a sort of effete male, you have to show different sides of your character. So him having the big pink hair, pink dreadlocks or whatever, but still being very aggressive was actually pretty good. So the finish came with Lash Legend scoops up Noam Dar and rolls him into the ring. This distracts the referee. the other girl, whose name I can't remember, Shakara, whatever, Jackson, she also distracted the referee. Dijak kicked Eddie Thorpe in the head while he was outside the ring, so the ref didn't see it. Eddie Thorpe slides into the ring at 9, which is such a stupid finish. Then Oro Mensah hits his finisher, which is a running spinning wheel kick in the corner, similar to Sami Zayn's Haluva kick, and he got the pin. Dijak is angry because Eddie Thorpe is, now rumored to be a tough guy in NXT. And Dijak is like, "You're not the tough guy in NXT. I am. I am the toughest guy." I'm like, why do you care about this? Anyway, Oro Mensah wins a match. I am surprised. Very surprised. But at least they made it make sense. I want them to stop doing the guy gets knocked out outside of the ring. He gets back in the ring at 9, only gets hit with a finisher and pinned. Whoever started that, you need to be kicked in the balls. Stop it. If you're going to be outside the ring that long, just take the count out. The count out is fine. We don't have to bring it. For starters, it doesn't pop the crowd anymore for you to slide in at 9. That used to pop the crowd. Now I think you might get a better reaction if the guy just is kicked in the head and knocked unconscious, and then he can't move, and he's just laying out there on the floor, and the bad guy just lets the ref count him out. I think that you probably get more heat doing that than trying to do that. Oh, he came in at 9. Oh no, he got pinned because he was wobbledy after he got back in the ring. Like, no, that's dumb. It's on very rare occasions will that work out. Usually, no. Usually I can say, no, it doesn't work. The fourth match on the show, Elektra Lopez versus Thea Hale. Oh, boy. So, Elektra Lopez, ooh, man, girl fine as silk. You feel me? And so this match was built off of Thea Hale coming across like she do submission holds now because she learned one move. So, Elektra Lopez is like, I got an MMA fighter in my corner, that being Lola Vice. And, she is a submission specialist and all this kind of stuff, right? So she thinks that, she's going to beat up on little ass Thea Hale. So Lola Vice is the tag team partner and in the corner of Elektra Lopez. Now, Lola Vice, thick as peanut butter. Girl, just thick, bad, all right? But she was wearing this Lord of the Rings like wig that she was wearing. It was jarring because I saw that wig and I was like, what on earth? It looks like the wig like it came out of the CW episode of like Legends of Tomorrow or something like that. It was terrible. What an awful wig. It was an awful wig and she did not look good in it. It was almost a Sasha Banks-ish wig. Because sometimes Sasha Banks' wig looks terrible too. I get, wearing a wig. I'm not mad at it, but I saw that wig and I was like, man, it's a rib. Like it's another rib, man. Somebody said, you look good with this. Ain't nobody gonna notice. I noticed, motherfucker. But shit. Elektra Lopez, despite the fact that she's much bigger than Thea Hale wins with the Kimura. Okay. This is fine. Elektra Lopez isn't being pushed. I don't know why. I don't know why they're doing what they're doing with her. Why she isn't. She was perfect in the role that she was in as the sort of enforcer of Legado del Fantasma. I don't know what they're doing now or why. Like, if you want to say she was left behind because she's not that experienced, okay, fine. But you're not putting her on TV enough so she can get the experience. And then you give her a partner, and she's also not on TV. She also needs experience. So they got to do more with Elektra Lopez. That girl got something. If for nothing else, she's fine as hell, and she'd make a great valet. So if you don't think she got nothing in the ring, then put her outside the ring. Again, you have two perfectly good guys here with Los Lotharios who could use females in their corner. Hello. They all Latino. Put them all together, Group like objects. It's a math equation. I haven't said that on this channel in a while. But group your like objects, please. Anyway, moving on. Thea Hale gets on the microphone. She's fired up. She talked about how she feels invincible. She tapped Elektra Lopez just like she tapped Tiffany Stratton. And she knows that she could tap Tiffany Stratton out again, and she wants a rematch. So her and Duke Hudson start getting the rematch chant started. At this point, Tiffany Stratton comes out, says that calling out the champion is rude, especially since she's vastly superior to Thea Hale. And she says that she has learned one move, and now she thinks she's hot shit. She didn't say that. I'm adding that part in, but it's accurate. It's an accurate representation of what she was trying to say. She said that she accepts the challenge of Thea Hale because she's already beaten Thea Hale, and it's going to be the easiest title defense ever. So Thea Hale says she wants to make one amendment to the challenge. She wants to make it a submission match, to which Tiffany Stratton said, no, you don't get to make the rules. I'm the champion. I make the rules, and you can't make me. So then what happens? She turns her back, and Thea Hale grabs her in the Kimura, and she begs and whines and cries, and finally is willing to give her the match. So she used the Kimura to get the submission match. Tiffany Stratton versus Thea Hale, submission match for Great American Bash. The fact that Tiffany's sold so well for Thea Hale in terms of like crying and, you know, tapping out and begging and all this kind of stuff. Yes, it makes her look weak, but since she's supposed to be like this posh princess, like being rough handled like this is actually sensible that she would, you know, buckle a little bit under that. But she's, you know, alpha female athlete. So she's gonna, when the match happens, it's gonna be a little bit different than in these segments when she's unprepared for the scrappy and fiery Thea Hale. So I'm cool with it, you know. And I like this. I just found out that Thea Hale, she was an indie wrestler before she graduated high school. So apparently she was wrestling on AEW TV. Like, they have a history of just putting, well, I guess WWE did it. They did it with the Hardys, but I didn't know she had wrestled prior to coming to WWE. So that would explain her dedication to the company already and to the business or whatever. So it was very cool, you know. She's still very young, maybe a little too young, but it all worked out in the end, I guess, because she has a aptitude for this. Next, Dominic and Rhea are backstage. This is before he won the title, and they come across Tony D'Angelo, where Tony D'Angelo mentions one of Dominic's friends from jail, and Dominic smiles like, he's a nice guy. And I wanted them to like have an extended, like, I like this. I like the wink and the nod to, they went to the same jail, you know, like it's like going to the same high school. You know, did you have the same celly? You know, they was out in the yacht, you know, okay. So the important thing here is that Dominic pointed out Lyra Valkyria, who was walking around like, I don't know, she had a stick up her ass or something. And so Rhea Ripley walks over to her and says, look, I told everybody that Lyra Valkyria was a badass. Did I lie? And then Lyra Valkyria was like, nope. Next time I get in the ring with JC Jane, I'm going to hurt her. Or something of that description. But I didn't believe Lyra Valkyria because she looked like, you know, Wednesday Addams from the Addams family. And it looked, for some reason, like her shoulders were touching her earlobes. I'm like, what is up with her body language? It's so strange. It's also very strange that, you know, Rhea Ripley is like a mentor, because I'm pretty sure these chicks are around the same age. I think Lyra Valkyria might actually be older than Rhea Ripley. I'm not sure how that works, but I guess it doesn't matter in the end, right? Speaking of mentorship, Kelani Jordan was disappointed in herself for losing to Cora Jade. But she's hanging out with Dana Brooke. What she should be more disappointed by is the fact that she's hanging out with that losing ass bum, Dana Brooke. So Dana Brooke's like, don't worry, I lose all the time. I still have a job. Let's just go do some gymnastics. So they do. They go do some stretching and some flips and stuff like this. And Dana Brooke is like, oh, yeah, girl, you got it going on. And Kelani was like, thank you, Dana Brooke. I'm learning so much from you. And Dana Brooke's like, I'm learning a lot from you, too. Because, you know, the acting is very on the nose. And they're making sure they say exactly what was written on the paper. and no more and no less, and with no emotion or feeling. It's like a really bad commercial, like one of those Colonial Penn commercials or something like that. They're gonna have to work on it. I'm sorry, but Dana Brooke, there's nothing you can do. Kalani Jordan, you're young enough to work on it. Okay, so Cora J is watching them on screen like gymnastics. She got that deep stud voice. Gymnastics. They think that gymnastics is gonna help them, and then she bangs the lockers with her stick. Which is, now we find out that she's going to have a kendo stick match with Dana Brooke. And I'll say, Sean, please don't do this. Please. Do us all a favor and abandon ship on Dana Brooke. Just call it a day. Wrap it up tight, real tight, and ship it on off. We don't care. Kalani Jordan, okay. Throw her a life raft. Let's see what she can do. This is like her 4th appearance. It's not that big a deal. Dana Brooke, though, not going to work. Not working for me, I'm saying. Cora Jade seems to be going backwards. I thought she was going up the card. She's like just staying right here. That must just be her role. She's going to be the gatekeeper. But whatever. It works out fine for her. I just feel bad because she got to wrestle Dana Brooke again. So she's about to get another terrible match on her under her belt, but hopefully she learns something from it. All right, so the final thing is that they keep talking about Gable Steveson, about what his future might be, and I'm like, who the hell cares, really, bro? You don't do NXT. You're not here. You made one appearance and suplexed like 4 people, and that was it. Now we have to care about what your future is going to be. I don't give a goddamn about Gable Stevenson's future. Unless you're going to wrestle in NXT for the long term, I don't give a shit. So, anyway, that's the end. I mostly love this show. What was weak on the show was minimal. The Gigi Dolan, Kiana James stuff was weak. Didn't really care for Los Lotharios getting, teasing a breakup. I wasn't a big fan of that. But most everything else was solid, makes sense in terms of story. Really showcases the characters or the change in the characters. And so I really like it. They might want to tweak some of the looks and get some of these people to work a little bit more. But my problem is that they're not giving you enough. Like, again, you have Elektra Lopez. She's not doing anything. So do something with her. There's plenty of other people on this roster that you could be utilizing, I'm surprised we didn't get any type of forward motion on Von Wagner this week. So we didn't get anything from him, which was interesting. Like, why Von Wagner wasn't on this show? Braun Breaker wasn't on this show either. So, interestingly enough, both of those guys just vanished from the show. So it ought to be pretty good. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about this. Ivy Nile took down the Diamond Mine flag. She was all distraught and upset about it. But I don't think the whole Diamond Mine thing is over. I think she's basically, closing up shop, about to clean out the apartment and turn off the lights and everything. And just for them to reemerge. Because I'm almost certain that they're coming back. If Tree Brothers don't come back, I'll definitely be surprised. But I was not surprised that NXT was still good. It's been good for about a month and a half now. They've just been really doing some important stuff on here. And they continue, with the Dominic Mysterio stuff. So it's really going to be very interesting in what they do from now on. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you guys for your time. I'll talk to you guys later.
MagMongoSlade. Best house I ever drew, Daddy.